Welcome back, listeners. My name is Larry Kallevig, founder and CEO of the Haven Financial Group. And if you're just tuning in, you're listening to the Haven Financial Group radio show, where we discuss crucial retirement decisions, financial topics that really can make the difference between the golden years or surviving retirement. And if you're looking for more information on any of these retirement topics that we have talked about on the Haven Financial Group for several years now, give us a call at 612-504-8400. If it's not today, anytime during the week, schedule a time to come in with us. Go to havenfinancialgroup.com. You can see all the educational classes, and we do lots of them, and we're big into the education piece, Kim, and you know that. And, you know, some that are coming up here. March 26th, we have at our education center here at our office a really good one, because we're in Minnesota, and we're eventually going to get to springtime, even though we got dumped on with snow again. But, you know, we're almost to spring, and this is fitting because land of 10,000 lakes here. This one will be put on by Carrie Renner, our estate planning attorney, on how to keep the cabin and the peace in the family. Kind of important stuff. And for families here in Minnesota, near and dear to their heart is their cabin. And, you know, what happens if you're not here to mediate? Although I'm sure all of us have the best kids in the world, nothing would ever happen until what happens? Something happens.
Until something happens.
So again, how to keep the cabin and the peace in the family, and then Social Security classes throughout the year. They're all on our website, including a lot of tools that are very helpful in retirement. So again, online, visit us.
Absolutely. Those are terrific seminars. I love the name of that one. That's really clever.
Fitting.
Yeah, and it's just perfect. We're talking today about really geopolitical issues and how they're impacting your retirement and your investments. We want to talk about oil and the Middle East. Obviously, there's war going on in the Middle East that has a direct impact on oil prices. And we have seen oil, barrels of oil going up, and that results in prices at the pump going up. And unfortunately, when prices at the pump go up, we see essentially prices across the board go up, because everything comes back to oil and to gasoline. The Strait of Hormuz is now closed, and so shipping through there is a difficult situation. So let's talk a little bit about, Larry and Kyle, how these situations in the Middle East, all the way over there in the Middle East, have such an impact on our investments and ultimately our retirement plans.
Yeah, well, it's definitely a loaded topic, and we can already see it impacting us here. So what's happening right now is the largest supply disruption in the history of oil. And that's coming, just as you said, from the Strait of Hormuz. And that blockade, it handles about 20% of the world's oil and liquid natural gas. And it's erased about 20 million barrels per day from being sent out to the global market for oil. So what this has done is caused a surge in the price for oil. And we saw over $120 a barrel a couple of weeks back now, but now it's kind of settling in there, and we're starting to see some more consistent pricing there. It's still a little volatile, but it's showing how much is unknown of what's going on over there, and whenever it's going to be resolved is just kind of unknown, and we just don't know what the outcome is going to be there, but. We've seen it at the pump, and oil drives so much of what our economy does. It's the lifeblood of transportation and farming. And so you don't just see it at the pump, but whenever you go to a restaurant, all of that food that's there had to get transported from using oil of some sorts. So we're going to see these prices, kind of everywhere. And we can feel it definitely in our wallets. And consumer spending drives about 70% of the economy. So because prices are going to be higher, people may not spend as much. So the economy could definitely see a little bit of a slowdown here. And that's something that we'll have to keep in mind, because we could get into what's called stagflation. And that's something that we definitely would prefer to not be. We'd prefer to not go into that, meaning that, inflation is still going up because the price of oil is still increased, and creating higher costs for things, but the economy is staying flat or even potentially decreasing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. We saw stagflation when we came out of COVID pretty dramatically, right?
Yes, yeah, we did. It was that was some pretty volatile times too. But after COVID, things started to correct a lot quicker, especially in the stock market. So this one will be interesting to see because every situation is new,
Sure.
and we just don't know what that's going to look like.
Absolutely. So let's talk about, again, the practicality of this when it comes to retirees and to those who are preparing for retirement.
Yeah, it just like we said, there's going to be a lot of price increases that we're going to see, and that's going to be nationwide. You can one on a positive note for being in Minnesota or the Midwest here is that it's starting to warm up. We just had a day this weekend touching 70, so that was nice. But we're going to feel it in many areas, and we need to make sure that we have our portfolios stress tested for inflation. And that's something that we already do. And when we stress test for a higher inflation than we even would anticipate over the long run, stretching out to our mid 90s in most cases. So we just need to make sure that our plan is up to date and that we know that we're okay for situations like this because we have planned for it. It's been in our analysis. And although we don't like that this situation could be coming with a higher inflation, we know that we're okay and we can have the cash flow and the retirement lifestyle that we want still, even though things could be more expensive.
So we talk a lot about stress testing your portfolio, but I think probably we should walk through what that means for folks so that they understand it. That is something that if you partner with Haven Financial Group, you will benefit from. The idea of having your portfolio stress tested, essentially preparing it for times like this. But explain, Kyle, how you do that.
Yeah, so what we do is we take, whatever that base lifestyle looks like in terms of dollars and how much we want to spend on a monthly or annual basis. And then we apply a inflation assumption to that. And we stress test a portfolio return on whatever your portfolio dollars are and subtract out that inflation piece to then see what our real rate of return is after inflation. It's called our inflation adjusted rate of return. And then we can see what our outlook is for however long we want to. Typically, like I said, we do the mid 90s. We can make that go beyond 100 if we want to as well and just stress things even further for longevity. But once we have these inputs in there, the spending, the portfolio values, the inflation, the rates of return, we run thousands of iterations of outcomes. And then we see how many percent times on those outcomes, how much percentage we have successes and how many percentages we have failures in. And then that's where we see what your likelihood of success is in retirement. Because typically we try to be at 75% or higher. That's a pretty good indicator that you're going to be okay. And that's something that we update on an annual basis, make sure that we are staying consistent and not, having big drops, because that's what could, derail you if you're not keeping it up to date.
Yeah. Larry, it feels like to me, these kinds of stress tests, this kind of preparation can make the difference between sleeping pretty well at night or not when these kinds of volatile times roll around.
We definitely we care that people sleep, but what we care most about is they don't wake up grumpy when the markets are down, and then they call us and say we want to get out at the worst time possible. So let's face it. People are feeling it in their pocketbooks. They're feeling it at the pumps. I mean, I saw $3.25 to $3.50 here locally in the Twin Cities. Thankfully, we don't live in California, which I think I saw $7.50, but that's their problem, I guess. That doesn't make any sense to me. But and then my parents still crop farm in Candy High, Minnesota, and they and other farmers are going to be paying a lot more for fertilizer. So it's a trickle-down effect all the way us to putting groceries on the table. So, while this may seem like doom and gloom, what's your plan? While oil markets and global politics, yes, it's connected to our financial lives. I get it. It's not the only thing that matters. There are measures that you can take, that we help clients take, to protect those finances from these potential shocks and these ups and the downs in certain market areas that really do affect our financial lives. But if you're listening and you want to learn more about how to protect your finances, become more diversified in this world we live in, please reach out to us. That's exactly why we're here. That's exactly what our clients look to us to do. And if you're listening, you should expect it. That's why you're paying whoever you're working with. It's why you have a partner. You're paying them. And by the way, I've said it before, if you don't know what you're paying, then ask more questions, because I find it comical. And it's not actually comical. It's sad. I ask folks all the time, what are you paying your guy or gal to manage your money? And I said it 80% of the time, well, that's a really good question, Larry. We have no idea. The expectation shouldn't be that, everything's free. That's not the point. But you're paying something, and I see people paying 2 to 3 times the going rate in a competitive industry, and they're not hardly getting anything for it other than more of it's being taken out of their money. And we know higher cost does not mean higher returns.
612-504-8400. That's how you get hold of the folks here at Haven Financial Group. If you're looking to partner with someone to make sure that in these volatile times, your portfolio is safe, your portfolio at least is prepared to endure these times, then you'll want to partner with folks like the guys here at Haven Financial Group. 612-504-8400. Let them know you heard us here on the radio. When we come back, we're going to talk about budget strategies to address inflation. This is the Haven Financial Group Radio Show.